Hello, this is a video on the E6B6 opening, which begins with this setup. And this setup can be played against anything they play, you can make this setup. And basically what you want to do to get it is you're going to want to go E6, B6, and then bishop E7, and then anything white plays, you can play this. And this opening isn't necessarily a top tier opening, but it's definitely extremely fun to play. And it's very unusual, so your opponent will likely not have a lot of practice with this. In fact, it's so unusual that the computer recognizes this as a French defense. So first we're going to go over what happens if they play e4. And if at any time in the first 4 moves they play e4, then this section still applies. So, of course, you're going to want to go b6, and then bishop e7. Here, since they played e4, you now have an attack on the bishop, so they have to defend. First, we'll go over what happens if they defend with the knight. If they defend with the knight, you're just going to want to go bishop b4. And what this does is this pins the knight to the king, making it so that this knight no longer defends this. So the only good move in this position is to go bishop d3, because this defends it. A common move in beginner games is going bishop d2, and even in one of my 2200 games I saw this move, and this is just a mistake, because after taking the knight you can just take the pawn, and that's just a free pawn, which just shows how powerful this is, because nobody's prepared for it. The great thing about uncommon openings is even though they're not top tier, they're still good, and it can catch your opponents off guard and they might not know all the theory for it. And if you're able to get the free pawn, you're just going to want to go knight f6 and then castle, and then your life is good. You have an advantage already. But if they defend, you're going to want to go knight f6, and what this does is it adds another attacker to this pawn. So there are 2 ways for white to defend this. They can either go queen e2, which is the main line, or they can go knight d2. In both situations, you're just going to want to go d5. And now you have control of the center, you have a fianchettoed bishop, you're ready to castle, and your life is good. But if they never play knight to c3, let's say, for example, they defend this pawn by going bishop d3, then you have c5. And this is pretty complicated. They might take, if they take, just take back with the bishop. Don't take back with the pawn, because that just isolates the a pawn, and it's also blocking off your bishop. If they ignore it, let's say they castle, you're going to want to take, and if they defend it, which is the best move, you're going to want to go knight f6, bishop e7, and castle. And this next section is for if they control the center with a pawn, but they don't go e4. So you're going to want to go knight f6, and let's say, for example, this is the London system, and then you're going to want to go bishop e7. And then a cool trick in the London system is that you can go knight h5, which forces a trade. And if they decide to go here, you can just go d6, and they have to retreat. And in the Queen's Gambit without an e4, if there's a knight on c3, you're going to want to play bishop b4. So now you're going to want to do it, which pins the knight to the king. And then if they block the pin, you're just going to want to go knight f6 to prevent them from going e4 in the future. And that's pretty much just the main idea in this opening. You're going to want to go e6 to open up the dark squared bishop. You're going to want to go b6 to open up to fianchetto the light squared bishop, and then you're going to want to go knight f6. So yes, it's a very nice opening, and it catches the opponent off guard a lot. I'd say about half the time in low elo games, they'll just end up blundering their pawn, which is just great for you. You get an advantage out of the opening. And yeah, this opening is just really great if you're used to dealing with a lack of space. And if you enjoyed the video, please press the like button. Thank you.